Hello. How are
Hello.
we?
Good.
I'm Grant.
That's an interesting piece of headwear you have on, Gregory.
Yes, hi ho Haverfordwest, as they were singing last Thursday night at the Cardiff City Stadium, as they were knocked out the Europa Conference League qualifiers by some Faroese team who are actually full-time and the Haverfordwest are part-time. It's a lovely piece of headwear, but it's also covering my headphones, so I'm going to take it off. Yes, I attended Haverfordwest versus that Faroese team last week. Took it to extra time after being 2-1 down for the Faroes, and were shafted by what was an absolutely ridiculous penalty. His hands were clearly over his stomach.
I saw the tweet, the video. It wasn't a penalty. I have to agree.
They have every right to feel absolutely robbed. Some interesting news from the Faroe Islands, which has since been released from the chairman of Haverfordwest. At half-time in the game in the Faroe Islands, remember, they're the part-time team, the Faroe Islands team are the full-time team. At half-time, went back to the changing room to find someone had locked it and no one knew where the man with the key was. So they had to wait for 6 minutes of half-time outside. So they were just taking the piss, basically. And
That's
also
mind games.
The day before, they went to some local Faroese, the other club set it up. And some people came and posed as security guards for them, like in high vises and stuff. Turns out it was actually the coaches of the Faroese side. Just went and pretended to be security guards so they could watch Haverfordwest train, because they were that scared of a part-time Welsh team who finished 6th last season.
I'm laughing. That's bad, but it's funny.
It's really funny by the fact that they did all that and still had to rely on a really dodgy extra time penalty to go through.
Yeah. Their coaches obviously weren't very good scouts.
Evidently not. What else has been going on?
I was at Palmerston, but I think we'll talk about that a wee bit later on, to be honest.
We will.
Kyle's on his holidays, if you noticed by the update on the Insta story.
Big London town.
Yes. Well then.
Oh, yeah. It's been a busy week, so yeah, moving on. Last week talked about the Women's World Cup, and we're going to talk a wee bit more about it now. After us saying last week that we think Germany might go out, they were indeed knocked out. So
yes, they were.
And someone else who failed to qualify after we talked about them was the United States.
And Brazil.
And Brazil, yes. I did that. I don't know if I wrote that down.
Yes, we didn't write that down. I just remembered that. Brazil also failed to qualify after we mentioned them. So if you would like us to mention a football team for them to do shit, please tell us. We will mention them and then they will do shit.
Can I say Switzerland were supposed to be quite good? Switzerland.
I think so.
So they've got beat 5-1 by Spain.
Lovely. But yes, the US did go out and went out on penalties, failed to get through the quarterfinals. If anyone's not seen the video of the US goalkeeper saving the last pen for it to dip out under the bar and be given by goal line technology, that's absolutely fabulous watch if you've not seen that.
Rapinoe missed a penalty.
She did.
Yeah. Last World Cup.
I thought you preferred women's football, Kyle.
I like her. She's a very arrogant human being.
She.
I've seen a video for signing a ball at the Ballon d'Or.
What?
Doing the rounds.
On the other hand, England went through in their game. Yes, just. It was apparently one of the worst performances, and notably Lauren James got sent off for stamping on the Nigerian player. It was initially a yellow card. The referee runs over, does the check, and then obviously because of the referee at the Women's World Cup, they're announcing it, and she basically shouts really loud that after a review, the yellow's being rescinded and red card instead. And you can tell the way that James looks, she's like, she knows it's coming. It was stupid.
The photo does it justice. She knows she's lucky to get away with the yellow card in the first place. I don't think the referee sees it. It's probably called by the fourth official.
Yeah.
There was another VAR incident in that game actually as well, where England were awarded a penalty that just wasn't a penalty. Really good use of VAR to decide that was a dive. I actually don't think, especially in the Champions League and in the Premier League, I don't think that gets overturned.
Probably
I think that stays as a penalty because they argue it's not clear and obvious evidence. I like the use of VAR for that. I think it was clearly and obviously not a penalty. I think they did quite well.
Yeah.
The VAR's working this time.
Yeah, it shows that it has got upsides, but sometimes it's just not used effectively, I think.
In order, FIFA's use of VAR is right up there. At the World Cup, it was really good. And the Champions League, it's not too bad. There's still a bit, it's very inconsistent when they will and won't intervene. It's largely like reliant on what the refereeing's like in your country, which means if you get an English referee, you're stuffed.
Yeah. UEFA.
But like, you know, the Italians are very quick to intervene. The English people just don't, as you can tell in the Premier League, where the use of VAR is utterly shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll keep you posted on the Women's World Cup. We're still watching it.
Yes. We'll have a bit more coverage as the tournament goes on, but they are heading into the quarterfinals, so it's getting to the business end.
Yes.
Yeah. So Scottish football game week 1 was last weekend. Queens and Rangers working together to ruin my weekend. But we'll start off with the team that won the league last year. Celtic open up with a win against Ross County, 4-1, I believe.
Let's talk about Dundee.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, me and Greg, Kev was on his travels. Me and Greg streamed our both Dundee United game, which Dundee United absolutely cruised. If you haven't watched that over, which you should, easy win for Dundee.
United.
Yeah, I said United the first time, didn't I?
Yeah, I didn't mean that. I just meant when you said we're going to talk about the team that won the league, I was making a cheap joke and was saying Dundee because they won the league and got promoted. But yeah, watch that.
All right. I was trying to cover my tracks. I thought you were calling me out.
No.
Yeah, so we did that. But team that won the Scottish Premier League last year, Celtic opened up. I believe it was 4-1 against Ross County. Didn't watch it.
Is it a thing that when you win the league, like you always get a home tie in Scotland, so you can have Flag Day, which is a really nice tradition. But is it just a thing if you win the league, you have to get a game at home against someone who, if you're Celtic or Rangers, you should thump? It's never like Aberdeen away first day of the season. Well, it's never going to be away, but it's never like Aberdeen at home first day of the season or Hearts. But it's always kind of a lower end team.
Never really noticed, but yeah, actually, you make a good point.
Because they've made a habit of thumping St Johnstone on the opening day on more than one occasion.
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch it, but apparently it was quite convincing. People calling for Joe Hart's head, though. I think this will be his last season in Scotland. Do you think he lasts the whole season, or do you think he'll be punted in January?
I think he'll stay the whole season.
Before January.
True, actually. He's still got a bit of window left, actually.
Depends who he lasts, how he performs till winter.
Notably, Rangers lost 1-0 away at Rugby Park. I did watch that on the telly, however, I tried to zone out for most of it. I've heard a range of different excuses, too many new players, obviously first game together, but I don't know, it just wasn't good enough. The chances were coming at one point, but just weren't clinical enough. I don't think, oh, there's a dog. I don't think there was enough urgency until the end, and then they couldn't get a goal in the end. Well-taken goal from, I believe it was Mayo that scored for Kilmarnock, who is an ex-Rangers player.
I've not seen this. I imagine in my head when I seen Kilmarnock won Rangers now, I imagined it was like pure Steve Clark football, and score a lucky goal, tighten the ship.
Yeah, it was. Well, obviously Kilmarnock played well to get the win, but at the same time, like when they took a chance and got their goal, and then Rangers just couldn't deal with it.
There you go. That's the blueprint on how to beat Rangers this season. Very
sloppy up top. Obviously, those two new boys. I was really looking forward to Danilo coming on, but I didn't really get a chance, to be honest. We are recording this episode today on Wednesday, and Rangers play Servette in the first round of their what round have been? Second, third round of the qualifiers. Third round of the qualifiers. So this round,
there's still 2 more rounds to go because there's 4th and playoffs, I believe.
That's an one more, is it not?
I thought it was
right. Is it just third and then playoffs?
It is, because if Rangers play Servette of Switzerland tonight and next Wednesday, and then the winner plays whoever wins the game between PSV and Sturm Graz. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sturm Graz got heavily beat by PSV last night in the first play.
4-0, I think it was.
4-1.
4-1, sorry. So
that's Max Johnson.
So Max Johnson's got some work to do in Austria.
Never came on.
But yeah, so Rangers can get a bit of a grip. I believe they're at home on Saturday, so that hopefully that'll get the booze will get them going.
Yeah,
plenty of negativity. Right, Hibs obviously after their absolute shock in Andorra a few weeks ago, won 6-1 at Rugby Park on Thursday, then followed by a loss to St Mirren. So what do you think about that? Yeah, Easter Road. What did I say?
Rugby Park.
Oh fuck! Oh, I was in the. Come on, one. Oh, there's a blooper for you. Sorry, Easter Road. What do we think? They were doing well. Obviously on Thursday, momentum was going, but it's obviously just killed it, died off.
I mean, let's clarify, they were playing a team from Andorra that they shouldn't have lost 2-1 to in the first place. So 6-1 is probably about what people in Scotland would have expected from him.
I just meant momentum-wise.
They're knackered. They've run too much.
Momentum-wise, St Mirren are and will be a good side this year. You know, Stephen Robinson, I've always liked Stephen Robinson. Like when Stephen Robinson was at Motherwell, he set the team up really well to do that kind of thing, and they did really well under him. So I like to think he'll do a similar job at St Mirren, and there's signs towards that.
Yeah, I think they could be verging on Europe this year, actually.
Yeah, well, they almost did last season.
Yeah. So, do you think Lee Johnston's in hot water yet? Or I think he was for a while.
We'll see how they go against Lucerne.
Yeah.
Has he not been for his whole time there?
I think every manager is.
Well, ever since he got knocked out of the League Cup last summer, you know, he's never really got out of the hot water.
Yeah.
Notably,
he did qualify for Europe, which was decent for them, but at the same time, they were kind of looking patchy for a bit.
Yeah, the fact they ended up finishing above Hearts. Above Hearts?
Yeah.
Did they finish above Hearts?
No.
Did I get that wrong? No, they didn't. They nearly
did.
Hearts,
last day of the season, Hearts.
That's it. Edinburgh Derby. Sorry, my bad. Sorry,
yeah.
I was channeling my wishes that had finished above Hearts.
Because Hearts are Europa League, aren't they? No? Yes?
No,
no,
they're Conference League as well.
Okay.
No, they're Conference League as well.
I thought they were Europa League.
It's Aberdeen who A, overtook Hearts, and B, are in the Europa League.
So does that mean that Aberdeen are pretty much guaranteed group stage game then?
Yeah, it's the same as Hearts last season. Well, it's the same as Hearts last season. They'll drop in the Conference League.
Yeah, decent.
Great news for them.
It'd be good if they could stay in the Europa League. That'd be a bit extra money, yeah.
Money regardless, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Exposure for Scottish football, really good.
Return of Aberdeen in Europe.
You're just really in this conversation if you don't want to talk about Queens.
Yeah, that is next on the list.
Actually, notably, Hibs have Aston Villa in the next round.
Oh, there you go.
Go for it then, Greg.
Returns. Don't you know, pump it up? Queens probably aren't going up.
It looks that way after game week 1, which is stupid to say, but I don't know. If you didn't see Queens
2 seasons in a row, we've conceded 4 on opening day.
4-3 to Arlo at home. I was there. The highs of Kieran McKechnie scoring after about 2 minutes to then be followed by a lot of Alloa goals. Wasn't very good. The other 2 Queens goals were 2 penalties from Gavin Riley. And to be honest, I think a 4-3 scoreline very much flattered Queens. So not a good first week.
Alloa are a bogey team and have been for a long time, to be fair.
Just wanted to go in and slap Connor Salmon. I don't know who the first goal scorer was, actually. It wasn't Salmon. He scored later on. But if anyone who hasn't been at Palmerston, there's not the best atmosphere. And he's running along the touchline like this. He's cupping his ears. I'm sorry. Who was he cupping his ears to?
Telling us to make some noise.
No, it wasn't. It was like chatting, bam them up. No. But yeah, need to get the finger out and play Edinburgh City on this Saturday away from home. Last time Queens played Edinburgh City there, we were all there. It was a convincing 3-1 win from what we could see at Meadowbank.
Which wasn't a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Anything else? Any notable results in Scotland that I think I missed out?
Point for Spartans. We'll go on to that. It was in predictions, but a point for Spartans in their first game in the SPFL against relegated Clyde. Can't be seen as a bad result.
Yeah, and got beat in their first game in League One.
Falkirk away was always going to be a really tough first day of the season test. We'll find more about them in games that aren't Falkirk away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so that's kind of Scottish game week 1. Obviously, most of the English leagues, apart from the Premier League, kicked off last week, so we'll have a quick go over that. Notable results. A good one for Greg. Cardiff drew with Leeds.
I mean, good. First half was good. Second half was an absolute onslaught from Leeds. The fact they got the goal 3 minutes into the second half just dictated the tone, and losing the goal in added time is heartbreaking. You know, lots of Cardiff fans saying not great, but actually, or lots of media saying Cardiff fans will be disappointed with this. But actually, if someone offered you a point at Elland Road first day of the season with a new manager and quite a few new players, you definitely would have taken it. There were promising signs there for sure.
That's what I was going to say.
Ramsey played really well.
Taking a point from Leeds is not an easy feat. So, I mean, it probably wasn't the best way you wanted to do it, obviously being 2 goals up. But at the end of the day, you would have taken a draw before the game started, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Also, Leeds losing another 3 players to injury from that game. So they now have 11 players out already, including Liam Cooper, who's out for 8 weeks now. And Crescencio Somerville, who was absolutely excellent in that game as well. So they are going to need to recruit heavily.
There was something else I was going to say there. Nah, it's escaped me.
I know you've got the running order wrong though, because the next thing says Carlisle win their first game and they didn't.
Oh, I meant to put lose.
They drew.
No, you didn't. They drew.
Oh, well, someone else could have changed it. You just both read it.
I've only read it now.
Well, I generally thought they won.
No, they drew 1 each again from the predictions last week. Great free kick from Owen Moxon for anyone who's seen it on the socials. On Instagram.
I never saw the goal.
It was a lovely free kick. It's kicking about somewhere. Have a look. It's great.
I will do. I don't know if I want to read the rest of this running order if there's full of mistakes. I do know this is true. Wrexham got beat by Inky Dons.
They did 5-3, weirdly.
Yeah, some scoreline for the first game of the season.
Both nearly promoted teams conceding 5 as well, actually, because Notts County lost 5-1 away at Sutton. And they are both very heavily back to go up this season. So that shows you what a competitive League 2 will be again.
I think it'll be good. One that I haven't got in the running order, actually, I'm going to give them a shout out in the National League. Southend United are currently in turmoil. They're still protesting against their owner. Roots Hall was basically looked like a park field a few weeks ago. They barely have enough players to field a full team. However, they beat Oldham Athletic 4-0 on Saturday.
Well,
a team that are tipped to go up. Very convincing 4-0. Just want to give them a shout out for that. So yeah. And that brings us on to the Premier League that starts this Saturday. So obviously, Man City are favourites to win it again, but who do we think could win or will win?
Man City didn't win the Community Shield, did they?
No, that was Arsenal beat them on penalties.
They did, after 11 minutes of added time when they scored.
Yeah, I saw that, but I watched the first half.
They're going to start doing that this year. They're going to start adding longer added time periods on, and it's going to lead to a ton more injuries.
I watched the first half and it was so boring, and then I ended up having to go. So,
Community Shield's always like that, though, isn't it? It's kind of the second half heats up a bit, and it has done the past few years. But the first half is always pedestrian, pre-season. Yeah. It used to basically be a platform for people to debut their new kits, but now Premier League clubs do that at other events.
I don't know what, or they do it. And I've noticed a few seasons before that they'll play their new home top in their last home game of the season,
which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So yeah, Man City obviously favourites to go up. Greg, who'll go down?
Wolves in absolute turmoil. Talk about them in a minute. Wolves, Sheffield United, and I want to say Luton, but I want them to stay up. Luton or Bournemouth, one of them two.
Yeah, Bournemouth did that last season, didn't they?
They did, but obviously sacked their manager and replaced for someone else. And Gary O'Neill, who was their manager for most of last season, after Scott Parker got sacked, is the one tipped to go to Wolves after Julian Lopetegui and all his backroom staff walked out.
Pretty mental.
Absolutely mental. And it's complete, it's just an FFP nightmare of, I believe they said to him, you can sign some young players, but no one will break the bank because we need to make a profit on transfers this summer to keep within FFP rules. Then they said, oh no, you can actually only sign people on frees. Then they signed Matt Doherty back home on a free. And now after they've done that, the Wales board has now turned around to him now you can't sign anyone. He's like, sod this. And it's like the bottom Football Manager where you say, well, if you don't give me any more money, I'll resign. And then the board go, okay then, and then you've got to do it.
Sounds like it anyway.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to go down?
Probably Luton, Wolves, and Everton. We'll say Everton because they were close to last year.
I hope they are. I think it'll be Sheffield United. They've sold and are selling a ton of players. They've also got some ownership issues.
When do Everton move into a new stadium? Is it next season?
Whenever it's finished.
Yeah.
I don't quite know.
It would be mental to see them in a massive stadium in the Championship.
It would. You say mental. I go for funny.
Yeah, but you've been wanting Everton to go down for ages.
I have. I still do. Do you think Man City are actually going to win the league even though they're favourites? Will they actually have a title challenge?
I don't know. People saying Arsenal should do it this year, but I don't know. They kind of got to the stage last year when you knew they were going to bottle it.
Liverpool have recruited well.
Yeah. Manchester United.
What do you think about Liverpool, Kyle?
Disagree.
Not going to do well enough, I think. I think it's Man City's probably similar to us last season.
Yeah.
I think Man United will have more of a run in this year.
Yeah, they might do. They've recruited well, actually.
Back in Champions League as well, so bit of momentum as well.
Confidence,
it's a big thing for these clubs.
You've also got kind of Newcastle and Villa, who both kind of did really well last season, both historically very big clubs. Trying to get in the Champions League. I've seen some pundits predict that Villa will probably finish 4th, 5th or 6th, which is ambitious. They've got a really good squad now, though, and it would be a fool who didn't back them to win the Conference League, given they've got Unai Emery, who winning European tournaments is basically what he does. Newcastle, I don't think we've got the depth. I think 6th or 7th is realistically where we're going to be.
And let's be honest,
overachieving.
Let's be honest, if a 6th or 7th finish isn't a bad finish for Newcastle.
It's not. And it's it's reflecting the fact that Chelsea underperformed, Liverpool underperformed, Spurs technically underperformed, even though I don't think they're going to be up there again, especially not if Harry Kane goes.
A poor pre-season Spurs and all, so it doesn't help.
That is true. Is Harry Kane going to go? We've asked this all summer. He's still not away. Big Ange just saying he's not focusing on it.
I was going to say, I read somewhere that he's one of the favourites to get sacked first.
I mean,
but he was always.
If you put a bet on first Premier League manager to leave the post, you've already lost it.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Right. Overperformers and underperformers. I think we kind of talked about that already.
See how Luton get on. I'd back Burnley to be kind of top half, maybe 10th. We're back to kind of where we were before now, where you've kind of got, you can perhaps push Villa and Newcastle into the Spurs bracket in like a top 8. And then after that, it's just.
Yeah.
I think seeing Spurs at top 6 is ridiculous anyway, but.
It is.
I'd say there's always like Newcastle who are more top. You know what I mean?
I do. I reckon Burnley have a chance. Again, they've recruited well, a really great company. Turf Moor is always a tough place to go.
Yeah. Have you seen that Burnley have got new owners?
Yes.
I can't remember the name of them. Yeah, it's like there's like a group, I think they might even be like YouTubers or something like that effect, and they've basically co-bought Burnley with someone else. I should have wrote it down, but I forgot. But anyway, we'll find it. I'll find it for next week.
Talking of English football and going back to the EFL for a minute, Tom Brady is part of the group of people who bought Birmingham City. People say Tom Brady was at Birmingham on Saturday. He wasn't. He was at Palmerston, and we can share that photo on the socials.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. A man kicking about in a Brady shirt.
No, it was actually Tom Brady. I don't know what you're on about. He wasn't at St Andrews. He was at Palmerston.
It was the likeness was uncanny.
Did he also have massive biceps?
I'm not making any comments. That would be horrible. So yeah, have we got anything else to add on the Premier League? I'm looking forward to it starting.
I'm looking forward to it starting. We know, and to many extents, the title race is really unpredictable now, but the rest of the league is so good. Yeah. It's morphing into a Bundesliga with a ton of power, like a ton of financial pool, and that probably who's going to win it. Kind of probably the teams who are going to be kind of up there with them I think
Yeah.
everyone else is a lottery. It's like we're turning into that, but with the Premier League having the power to buy whoever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good analogy.
Thanks.
I agree.
I also agree.
You're doing well this week, Greg. You had two nods of agreement. Right. That brings us on to the game for this week, which is the category game.
Yes. So, thanks to my absolutely crushing loss in the transfer game last week, if you've not seen that, I collapsed ridiculously. I compared it to Dumbarton last season. Some might also compare it to Kevin Keegan's I would absolutely love it if we beat them. But yes, I lost. It is the category game this week. Robert is the champion. Kyle is the challenger. So this week I have 4 categories to pick from for the category questions. To remind people how this works, they've got to go back and forward like tennis, naming something that fits in the category. If you take too long, I'll call you out for that. Sadly, I don't have the soundboard due to some technical problems. Or if you name something that doesn't fit in the category. So the categories for Kyle to pick from are, we have kits, players, teams, and stadiums. So Kyle, you get to pick the category each time. We obviously won't use one of them. And it will be Kyle to go first. Yes,
I'd just like to add, I'm not as good at this game as the transfer fee game, so this could be a whitewash.
Right, Kyle, which category of categories would you like?
The players, if that was one, I can't mind.
It was. We'll do players first. There are 32 answers. It is, Kyle to go first, any player who made a league appearance for Chelsea last season. These are all kind of Premier League focused due to the return of the English Premier League. So Kyle, it's you first. Any player to make a league appearance for Chelsea last season, 32.
Kepa.
Kepa Arrizabalaga. Yes, he is.
Mendy, the keeper.
Edward Mendy. Correct.
Thiago Silva.
Correct.
Havertz.
Kai Havertz. Yep.
Cesar Azpilicueta.
Cesar Dave. Yes.
He played for it. I'm actually went blank already. I was going to say something, but I think he wasn't there. I'm going to put Billy Gilmore. I think he played at the start of the season. Or there was
And that is a big fat L for Robert.
I know he went on loan, but I thought it was halfway through.
Kyle moved to Brighton permanently, I believe, last season.
I thought it was a loan last season, then permanent.
But he did not make a league appearance. I won't read the rest out because there's like another 27 of them, but some highlights. Ben Chilwell, Mark Cucurella, João Felix, Enzo Fernandez, who they paid 107 million for. 2 Fofanas, Conor Gallagher, Koulibaly, Kante, Kovacic, Mason Mount, Mudryk, Pulisic, Sterling, Zakaria, Ziyech. Absolute ton. So Kyle is 1-0 up, and it is back to him for the next choice of question. We have kits, teams, and stadiums.
Kits.
We'll take kits. 37 answers this time. It is any kit manufacturer for a Premier League team since the year 2000. This does not include club kits made by the clubs themselves, which various clubs have done over that time period, but any manufacturer for a kit for an English Premier League team since 2000. Robert, this time it is you to go first.
Nike.
Correct. Adidas, yep.
Puma.
Umbro,
yep.
Castor,
yep.
Joma
is correct.
New Balance.
New Balance with Liverpool, yep.
Under Armour.
That was my next
Under
one.
Armour, yep. Made Southampton kits.
Was it just the Premier League, did you say?
Just the Premier League.
I'm just going for it. Macron.
Macron is correct.
Reebok.
A Reebok with Bolton back in the day, yep. This was basically name a sports brand.
Yeah. I've got one in my head and I don't even know if I pronounce it, but I mean that Les Sportifs.
Yep, Le Coq Sportif used to make the Everton kits, that's correct.
Kappa.
Kappa still make the Villa
This
kits.
is
Or
where
have
we go
done.
down. This is where it goes downhill. I can't think anymore.
Might as well name our sports brand because the chances
Yeah,
are that's on here.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with. I can't think. Nah, head's gone.
Great time. Well done, Kyle.
Wait,
You went.
did he go first? I went first.
Oh no, yeah, you did go first. Kyle needs another one.
I do have one, but I don't know if it will count. So, Warrior.
Warrior is correct. Yep.
Also had Era. Again, that one is like the 2 diamonds.
Yep. Araya. Yep. There
Is
is a ton more. I'll read out some of the kind of sports brands you might have heard of. So Asics made Bradford kits back in the day. Canterbury made a Portsmouth kit. Carbrini for Blackpool.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Champion for Wigan. Diadora for Watford. Watford have a ton of weird ones. Hummel still make kits in the Premier League. Fila did a West Ham kit at one point. You can have a JD Sports who did a Bournemouth kit. Or JJB who did Wigan. Lonsdale did a Blackburn kit. Lotto did a QPR kit. And that is kind of all the ones that people might have heard of. So it is 2-0 to Kyle. We'll play a third one just for the fun of it. But yeah. Robert, I'll let you pick. Would you like teams or stadiums?
Go stadiums.
Go for stadiums. It is. So this is, it's related to the Premier League, but it's more an EFL question. Any club in the top 4 English divisions this season with a smaller ground than Kenilworth Road for Luton Town, which has a capacity of 10,536. There are 25 teams. There are 25 teams with a ground smaller than Kenilworth Road. Kyle, you go first. On you go.
Team names or the name of the stadium?
Just the name of the team. Don't need the name of the stadium.
Carlisle.
And that is an immediate L. Brunton Park is bigger than Kenilworth Road.
I thought it was 9,000. I thought Carlisle was 9,000.
Not according to this.
I'm sure
how big? Sorry, how big did you say?
There are 25. 10,536. Brunton Park is 17,000. It's temporarily reduced. So Kyle, I'll give you that.
What? No.
No, it's fine.
No, it's temporarily reduced. That's fine.
All right. I was going to say Bournemouth, but I don't know if it is.
No, it's not.
Oh well. That was temporarily reduced as well.
This doesn't matter anyway.
I know.
Kyle was already a 2-0 winner.
Well done. I'll take
For
that.
those at home shouting answers, Barrow, Accrington, there's a ton. Crewe, Exeter, Forest Green, Grimsby, Newport, Salford, Shrewsbury, Sutton.
I knew Bournemouth was small, but not that small. I just couldn't think of anyone else. Because Carlisle was one of mine. But yeah, well done, Kyle.
Well done, Kyle.
Right, coming on to something else that I also did very bad in. It's the predictions from last week. So Greg, I'll hand over to you. Okay.
Yes, still me with predictions. And natural order has been restored with me back on the top. 4 points for me last week. Kyle got 3, Robert got 2. Shout out to Kieran in the comments, who also got 4. He got the same games right as me. This week is Kyle's pick of games. First up is St Mirren versus Dundee in the Scottish Premiership. St Mirren, obviously, with that win at Easter Road, Dundee drew 1 each at Motherwell.
St Mirren for me.
St Mirren for me too.
I'm going to say the Buddies.
St Mirren for you as well. Second game of the Championship, Dundee United versus Dunfermline. Dunfermline beating the other newly promoted team, Airdrie, 2-1. Dundee United, as we mentioned earlier, cruising to that win against Arbroath.
This is going to be a tougher one, I think. I'm going
Dundee United for me.
A draw.
Go for the Tangerines.
Dundee United for Kyle as well. League One, it is Edinburgh City versus Queen of the South. Both sides lost their opening game. Edinburgh City lost away to Stirling. Queens obviously lost at home to Alloa. Not that I need to remind you of that. Robert's already fed up with me reminding him. I think Queens can do it this week. I'm going for a Queens win.
Me also. I think Queens are going to win.
×3.
×3. Definitely blinded by our love of Queens there. This one is Forfar versus Elgin, the teams that I picked to both top and finish bottom of League Two. Forfar drew 0-0 with Stennismuir at the weekend, whereas Elgin lost to Stranraer. I'm going for a Forfar win.
Me too.
It's a draw.
2 wildcards this week. First one is the Premier League coming back. We have Brighton versus Luton. Luton's first game in the Premier League. Brighton finished 6th last year and average more than a goal for and a goal against every game.
I think you're getting mauled by the Seagulls. I think Brighton are going to win.
Yes, you're getting your sausage roll stolen by the Seagulls.
I also think the Gulls are going to do it.
I also think the Gulls are going to do it. Though that, if Luton could stop Brighton from scoring, that will, like a De Zerbi team from scoring, that will show us their ambition for the Premier League. Last game is the German Super Cup. It is at Bayern versus Leipzig. We're obviously doing the results after 90 minutes. Bayern winning the league last season, Leipzig finishing 3rd. Bayern, of course, were knocked out the Pokal by Freiburg.
I think Bayern will win it. I just think first game will settle in.
I think I'm going for a draw in normal time. I think it might go to extra time.
I was also thinking a draw.
We're also going for a draw. So that is the predictions for this week. And that, it seems, is the end of the podcast.
Just about, yes. This is your last chance to join the FPL for this season, the 3 Pints of the Queen Sheet Invitational. We're currently on 17, which is a good number. Get us up. If you watch this on Friday, make sure you do it before Saturday.
No, it needs to be done before Friday. There's a game on Friday night. It needs to be done.
Oh, well.
Need a game on Friday night. So
well, if you're watching this when it comes out.
Early.
Yeah. Oh, well, sorry. Friday or nothing.
If not, I don't know whether we can allow people in the league after they started. We can find that out.
You can, but no point should be lost.
That is true. Unless we're all terrible. Or Robert forgets to do it after the month of August again.
I didn't even do it in the month of August last week. I just made it and never changed it. But I've got a point to prove this season, so.
You do?
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening. This has been episode 40. Unbelievable. We're nearly at a year.
Says.
Mental. Right. See you later. Bye.
Ta-ra.
Godspeed.